A lot of B2B marketing is boring as f. The most important fact for me is being remembered and standing out. And that's why I do stupid stuff like dressed up basically as a Superman, go around a few towns locally and film funny stuff. I think it's super important. If you actually want to get the attention, you've got to stand out. Podcasts are bloody hard to grow. So if you're thinking of a quick hack, don't start a podcast.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Breaking B2B. I'm your host, Tom Hunt, and I'm here with this very strange person, Sam. Who are you, Sam?
I'm Sam Dunning, and I'm also founder at Breaking B2B, so this is a bit of an unusual one.
So we're going to talk about something that's very close to my heart, B2B content marketing, which in my eyes is like any content a B2B like founder or business creates, like on social, on LinkedIn, or maybe they have an email newsletter, or maybe they have a podcast. And I want you to explain what you do really well, which is like weird top of the funnel content marketing, which is largely put on social. So specifically, I want to talk about SEO Man.
Okay, SEO Man. Yeah, so I suppose I should probably share the point of view to give some context first. So I think a lot of B2B marketing is boring as f, especially in my space, so B2B SEO. So SEOs love on LinkedIn and similar channels to share tactics, which I do a fair bit of as well, to educate the market, share ideas, share case studies, absolutely fine. But all of it looks very similar. It's all like text-based or video-based or image-based. So especially in kind of what I'd call like boring B2B marketing fields, in my case, SEO, even though I am an SEO and I do SEO and there's many other sectors, I think it's super important. If you actually want to get the attention, you've got to stand out. And that's why I do stupid stuff like one of those is SEO Man, where dressed up basically as a Superman, superhero, go around a few towns locally and film funny stuff. Like it could be me telling a story that somewhat involves SEO. It could be me getting the public reactions to me in a SEO crazy Superman costume, all that kind of stuff really. And we've done all kinds of unusual ones that we post on LinkedIn and YouTube, from asking the public B2B marketing questions to going around with a sandwich board like we've got today in London, to anything we can do to stand out, but most importantly can link back to our product. So it's not just getting the attention, it's the attention linking back to brand.
Have you had people come inbound to you and say, I'm here because of SEO Man?
So as much as marketers or founders probably don't want to hear this, it's not direct lead gen, but the most important fact for me is being remembered and standing out. And the part that I do enjoy is that I jump on a lot of sales calls, especially from folks that come inbound through channels like LinkedIn, and they'll say, I really love your man on the street interviews, or I really thought SEO Man was super funny. And that's where I know it worked, because they might not have came inbound because they saw me interviewing someone on the street or me dressed up as SEO Man, but that's what caught their attention. Then maybe they followed me, then maybe they saw some of my tips on SEOs, my case studies and that kind of stuff, and then 6 months, 12 months, 18 months later, when they were ready, they inquired.
This for me, I think, is the holy grail of B2B marketing. Basically getting your ideal buyer to know, like, and trust you before they have to buy. And so SEO Man and this top of the funnel LinkedIn content is a great example of this. Let's move down the funnel a bit. Are you doing anything B2B content-wise with email?
A little bit. So I suppose I've got two that are the exact opposite. One is we do a little bit of cold email, which I'm yet to crack, to be completely blunt. Like I was chatting with you just now, like we've got a couple deals off it. Very simple flow. So we target, in our case, we offer B2B and SaaS SEO for revenue, not vanity. So we target like marketing leaders, CMOs, VPs of marketing, heads of demand gen, and we do a super simple cold email that's very blunt. It's like, hey Steve, or hey Jess, most marketing leaders tell me pipeline's down. I've got an unusual idea that might scale your inbounds. You against me sending a weird SEO review or a weird video review? And most people open that email and be like, what the heck? And they'll be like, sure, or things like that. And we'll send a Loom video review, and it gets a small response rate. Maybe for every 10 Loom videos we send, we get one meeting, but it's cold. So it's a lot longer sales cycle. And then on the warmer side, I run a newsletter. That's the Breaking B2B newsletter. And how do I fill that? Well, that's from kind of LinkedIn content, folks that listen to the Breaking B2B podcast. And we also do a lead magnet, which is a 90 days to revenue SEO guide, which I promote. People download the guide, go into the funnel. And that is just a weekday emailer where I'll just share an unusual tip, a case study, a podcast episode, some SEO news, some weird B2B marketing experiment that I'm running. And then that gets a small trickle of sales calls over time. But most of this, you'll kind of get the feeling that it's more to keep top of mind for our offer, for our product. Not a lot of it is kind of direct lead gen.
Yeah, nice. So essentially we're doing some crazy stuff at the top of the funnel to get people's attention. And then ideally, once they learn a bit more about you, they come and they're like, okay, yeah, I do need to focus my SEO on revenue, and then they opt in, and they get on the email list, and they learn more about that. And then what I think is the final stage, if you think about what we're doing, it's like less focused on what you're doing at the top, less focused on your business, but more controversial and getting attention. And then the email step is like, okay, maybe they're starting to think about the SEO, etc. And then to really deepen the relationship, we can go to the podcast, which I assume you advertise on the email list. Exactly, because it's the hardest to grow, but it's the step where you build the deepest relationship because you're basically in their ears every week. So talk about how the podcast plays into the strategy, the B2B content strategy.
First of all, podcasts are bloody hard to grow. So if you're thinking of a quick hack, don't start a podcast. You know this, Tom, because you've been running your podcast for ages as well. So, and my podcast, Breaking B2B, is probably 5 or so years old, painfully slow growth, but that's actually because I didn't start it with a strategy. So when I started the podcast, I basically interviewed anyone and everyone, and it was great because I interviewed sales leaders, entrepreneurs, marketers, etc. Leveled up myself, really basically learned everything I could have learned from books, watching videos, doing stuff the hard way. And then probably about 2 years ago, I fine-tuned it. So I only interviewed, in our case, our ideal client profile. So like marketing leaders, demand generation leaders, revenue leaders. So I could build up relationships with them, interview them. They could share their growth levers, what's driving growth for their company. So it gives actionable tips to whoever listens or watches on YouTube or Apple or Spotify. And also weaved in solo episodes. So I'd give dedicated tips on B2B SEO, SaaS SEO, experiments I'm running to get kind of a deeper relationship with the audience and also show expertise and trustworthiness and all that good stuff. And then, like you say, cross-promote that on LinkedIn, cross-promote it to the email list. And then over time, that's what builds the trust, and that's what eventually gets this steady trickle of inbounds. None of it's fast, but the leads that do come in, the pipeline, the demos, the booked calls that do come in from this stuff are nearly ready to buy because they trust you so much, they've listened to you or they've watched you so much that they actually kind of think you're ready to deliver the job for them.
Straight away. Other thing I want to talk about is how you can build in collabs throughout the whole ladder of B2B content, the social, email, podcast. A key, in my view, like to grow faster on any of those layers, if you can access other people's audiences, then this is going to help. For example, Sam is going to post this video on LinkedIn. I'm also going to post this video on LinkedIn, which will cross-promote the audiences. So can you talk to me about how you've been able to build collaborations through social, email, and podcasts?
Yeah. So folks like Tom, loads of others. I mean, podcasting is great for that because it gives you an excuse to interview people or talk to people, have a conversation with people that if you cold call them, cold pitch them, cold email them, they probably tell you to do one. Whereas if you invite someone to an event, whether it's a dinner, whether it's a social thing, but in this case, podcast, people are often humbled and happy to do it. So it's an easy in. And it strikes up that warm conversation. You talk about something that's ideally in their area of expertise. You could then promote it after, builds up a relationship. Some of those might eventually inquire and become clients. Some of them might refer you, or some of them might promote you. And then likewise, LinkedIn's a weird old beast. It's a game. I often say LinkedIn's a game. I'm still trying to learn it. But yeah, it's a funny face. If you do it properly, if you post content on it, if you engage in other folks' posts that are related to kind of, I guess, vaguely related to your niche, you can strike up relationships with people like Tom, meet them in real life perhaps. And then some of those might become partners. Some of them, if you run a podcast, you might interview. Some of them you might send business to, some of you might work with. So it's B2B, I suppose, is more about consistent conversation with folks that could be potential prospects or clients, and also creating content for the right kind of folks to be remembered around what you do in a way that's different.
Let's finish off by you giving a single tip. Again, we have an early stage B2B founder that's trying to, maybe they have a few clients and they're trying to just increase the number coming in. What's like the number one thing you would do?
Number one tip to increase kind of inbound client flow.
Yeah.
Do more of what works. So this is a tip that I'm guilty of not doing. Like, I tried to spread myself super thin. Like, naturally being a B2B SEO agency, we're doing tons of SEO, trying to do the newsletter, the podcast, post on LinkedIn, build the partnership plays and all that kind of stuff. When really a lot of the time is just, if you've got, I don't know, early stage, if you're 10, 15 clients, look what's driven the most clients historically. Like, I did this recently and I worked out, like, we're driving good clients from SEO, good from LinkedIn content, good from guesting on niche relevant podcasts. Why don't we just do more of that stuff? And oftentimes it's like doing the basics, working out what's driving good clients, profitable clients, clients that have the problem you solve that you enjoy working with, or in the niches that you can actually serve good value. And doing more of that. If you haven't done that yet and you need to build your first clients, you need to work out where those dream clients hang out and work out a way where they're either searching for what you do or how you can strike conversations with them or leverage your network. But if you've got some clients, then a lot of the time it's doing the basics more often, which is a lesson to myself more than anything.
There we go, guys. Focus on what works. Sam, thank you for coming on my podcast.
Thank you, sir.